George. This is James Park, and this is Ryan Sack, and we did River North. Here we have a short video that describes, just the outlooks of River North.
Chicago's River North neighborhood is one of the most vibrant and diverse spots in the city. Located just north of the Chicago River, the area is home to a swanky community of urban dwellers. Condos and loft spaces are prominent in River North, offering everything from new construction to turn-of-the-century charm. Potential residents can also tour a variety of townhomes and classic Chicago greystones along the neighborhood's tree-lined streets. River North is known for its astonishing art galleries and gorgeous architecture. There are more than 100 art galleries within this small community, the largest concentration of galleries in the country outside of Manhattan. Architecture lovers can feast their eyes on the Cathedral District, a collection of Chicago's most famous and beautiful cathedrals. The world-famous Merchandise Mart, so big it once had its own zip code, is a predominant neighborhood landmark. This leading retail and wholesale destination hosts about 20,000 visitors and tenants per day. River North is filled to the brim with an array of restaurants, from classy chop houses to hidden highlights. Several famous themed restaurants also call this neighborhood home, delighting both residents and tourists. A collection of the city's best bars, lounges, and restaurants are found throughout the neighborhood, offering a variety of experiences for every visitor. Traveling to and from River North is a snap. With 3 L trains, dozens of bus routes, and hundreds of taxis, you can get just about anywhere, anytime, day or night. River North is just the right combination of busy downtown living with neighborhood flair. Find out more about Chicago's best communities to see which one is right for you.
So as the video explained, River North is located right in the heart of downtown Chicago, just north of the South Loop, and just south of the near north side, located right in the middle of downtown, right east or west of Navy Pier in the Michigan Avenue. Here's a zoomed in picture of River North. You can see the Trump Tower is located in it, House of Blues. Then you have where Jimmy did his interview with. It was a resident located in the heart of River North. And then on the west side, or on the outskirts, I did an interview with a restaurant/bar owner at the Green Door Tavern. It is the oldest bar and restaurant in Chicago. Some major sites, as you saw on the map, are House of Blues, Sound Bar, the original Lou Malnati's, Trump Tower, and Merchandise Mart. River North is anything from restaurants to nightlife, like Sound Bar, which is one of the most famous Chicago nightclubs. Then you got the House of Blues, which is a very elegant music hall. You can see anything from classical rock to reggae to current rap and hip hop artists. Then they have a lot of good food. All the famous restaurants are mostly located in River North. Like I said, original Lou Malnati's. And then what River North was originally known for was its businesses and commercial buildings. Most recently we had the Trump Tower, and then about 70 years ago there was the Rising Merchandise Mart.
And like James was saying, the Merchandise Mart was originated in the 1930s. It is the biggest commercial enterprise in the whole world. And today it features retail shops, boutiques, radio and television shows, and it has about 20 floors of office space and other different consumer type deals. And it hosts major trade and consumer shows. It's attracted customers for 30 plus years, and it just really gets booming around the holidays. And as you see, we got festive and put a picture up. This is in 1956 of the Merchandise Mart. It says Merry Christmas. And that's about it on the Merchandise Mart.
The reason why Merchandise Mart was so impactful was because about 70 years ago when it was constructed, it led to a big stimulus in the River North. It was the reason why businesses and a lot of enterprises came to River North. It was like Jimmy was saying, it was one of the biggest commercial enterprise buildings in the nation. It is a 45-story building. It covers a span of 2 to 3 blocks. It's a very important building in River North, and is continuing to grow.
Now, this is the guy I did my interview with. We discussed via email because he got sick around the time that I was supposed to do the interview. So I asked him a couple questions. The first one I asked him was, why did you choose to live here? And he responded was, like any normal person, it's short commute to work, walking distance. The building's only 15 months old, so it's got the new feel or the new touch to it, and it has beautiful amenities and views. Then he's lived there for about a year and a couple months, and I asked him if he owned or rented it, and he said he rented it, and it was about $1,700 a month with everything included, so it's not that bad compared to most places in the area. It's tending to rise. And then I asked him what his top 3 interests were within the neighborhood. And he said, again, the ease to get to work, the nightlife, everything's right around him. And he said mostly the views, being able to wake up in the morning and see what most people don't get to see in everyday life.
I interviewed the general manager at the Green Door Tavern. The Green Door Tavern was originally a bar that was opened in 1921. It was during the Prohibition era. And the reason they call it the Green Door Tavern is because of, well, the green door that's on the entrance. During Prohibition, the sale of alcohol was illegal. So the Green Door Tavern originated as a speakeasy, and with the door being green indicated that it was a speakeasy, and it's allowed its consumers to come in and enjoy a drink against the law. It is one of the top 5 oldest bars and restaurants in Chicago. And the reason we interviewed the general manager was because we figured that he knows a lot of the history about River North and how long that bar has been there, and then he can also provide us with information about how River North's grown and what he's noticed in the past 10 to 15 years he's been there. He said that in the past it was generally warehouses and businesses that consumed River North. He said he notices that currently a lot of residential buildings are on the rise. He was telling me that if you look out the window of the Green Door Tavern, you notice that there's 4 or 5 residential buildings being constructed today, and they have future plans of being up by at least 2020. He said that their rent has increased because of all these residential buildings being erected. He said that because businesses are on their way out and that nightlife is consuming a lot of River North, like clubs, bars, and restaurants, and then housing, that prices have been going up, and in the past 8 years he's seen a 20% increase in rent. In the future, like he said, currently he expects a expansion in residential living. He says that River North is most likely to become the next Gold Coast.
Talking about River North's past, going back to the mid-1970s, River North mostly consisted of wasteland. It wasn't nearly the city that it is today, with the residencies and the businesses that it has. This is due to the staggering economy that River North had throughout the better part of the 20th century, from about the 1920s through the mid-1970s. The economy was all over the place. However, this wasteland attracted businesses it attracted businesses in the late 1970s because of it being in the city and the opportunity that the land provides. So a lot of the businesses, such as galleries, studios, offices, apartments were built there, restaurants were built there. So all that really led to the beginning of the rebirth in River North. River North today, the tech industry is one thing that has made River North flourish as of late. They've had success in the city of Chicago in the tech industry. Notable businesses are Yelp, 1871, and Motorola, just to name a few. But probably the main reason they get the recognition that they do for their success in the tech industry is because of the Chicago Cloud Tax, which is a tax on different products and tech services, such as Netflix, that tax customers more than the average person would if they were living in a different area. It's a local tax in just the city of Chicago that has forced many tech industries to go downhill, but River North has been able to flourish despite the fact that the Chicago Cloud Tax exists. The residential area, as James mentioned before, is another big part of the society in River North today. The apartments and condos are growing, and business areas are actually shrinking because of the growing residential areas. So the future of River North is just as the past and the present and the trends have showed us what we expect. The plans are to expand the residential areas. There's a plan by a Milwaukee architect to insert 31 new condos into the River North area. I believe he bought that land for about $4.4 million a few years back, and he plans to show off the architecture that River North is known for by doing this. And finally, should you start a business in River North? I believe that starting a business in River North could be the best decision in your life or the worst decision in your life, because it can be very risky in that a lot of business are being pushed out by these new residencies. However, the people that live there and the high income class people that live there could have your business flourish and perhaps have a great road ahead of your business. So